Good evening, everybody.
Hello, how's everybody doing today? Oh, I got some news hot off the presses, but we're gonna have to talk about it after this.
Okay. All
All right.
right. Sandra
So
Sheffer.
welcome back.
We're back.
Welcome back.
Co-host Race of the Races.
All right, Sandra Sheffer, you were saying your name. I'm sorry, I was
No,
like,
that's okay. Yes, Sandra Sheffer, one of the co-hosts of Race and the Races. And,
All right,
we have an exciting conversation. Well, there's some things that happened yesterday that we'll talk about. But today is for Rod Velez, a candidate for school board district
one.
All right, so we're gonna talk to him today because we need to start introducing folks to these candidates, reminding them when their elections are, tell them that it's important. Yesterday's turnout seemed a little low. We're gonna try to avoid that for what's coming up in August. So we want to definitely start promoting the candidates early so people can know who they are, know who to vote for, understand their issues and everything. So that's what we're doing. So I'm Sandra Sheffer, one of the co-hosts of Race and the Races. Go ahead, Narnie.
I'm Narnie Grant, one of your co-hosts of the Race and the Races. And as Sandra said so eloquently, we need to make sure that everybody knows who's running, what they're doing. School board is very important these days. That mask mandate was a doozy. Okay, school boards all across the country was getting up in arms. So
they were fighting them too. They were fighting them, trying to get them kicked out and all kind of crazy stuff happening. It
was a hot mess.
Yes.
But we want to make sure we understand who is running, what they're running, what their goals are for the district. As you know, Broward County has been in the news since 2018 with our horrific tragedy that we suffered, and we've been, scrutinized since then. And so now we have 4 seats, I believe, right, Rod? 4 seats that are open coming in August of 2022. Rod is running for one of them, which is District 1, and Rod will let you introduce yourself. Tell us why you're running. Tell us what district you're running for, and just a little bit about yourself. Give us a good round bio.
Sure. My name is Rod Velez. I'm a parent of 3 boys, but 2 that are currently in the Broward County public school system. One of my boys attends South Broward High School. He's a freshman this year. And my 5th grader, he is attending Beachside Montessori. It's a magnet school, but it's a K-8 school in Hollywood. I'll tell you a little bit about my background as far as my career goes. I had my own construction company for a little while doing house renovations. So construction is my thing. I'm more of a problem solver, solution maker. No matter what topic or issue it is, I can always try to come up with an idea for something. That's one of my things. If I have an issue with any topic, I always try to bring something to the table as a solution. I'm not one just to complain. That's just not who I am. That's not my character. So for the past 12 years, I have been a property manager for a company that owns over 150 properties around the country. I'm responsible for most of them. So I have a pretty good idea what it takes to keep a lot of large buildings intact and try to be proactive and keeping them maintained. That's one of the top things that I'm going to be doing on my campaign, and when I get in, we'll be addressing the $800 million initial bond, which is now $1.4 billion and approximately 6 years behind schedule to complete. So hopefully I can bring that insight to the school board and try to get that back on track. Hollywood District 1 has approximately 30 Title I schools. As you know, that means that it's just there's a lot of kids that are lower income, brown, black, just lower income families that probably need a little bit more attention. That's kind of where I came from as a child. My mom and dad separated when I was about 6 years old, and I was raised with a strong single mom. And, from 6 and on, I know what it's like to be on welfare. I know what it's like to have those food stamps. They weren't fun passing along at the store. I know what it's like to have the government cheese, leftovers every day, all of those sort of things. And I think it made me the man that I am today. I always wanted to give back to the community once I was able to. And I think now at this point in my life, I am able to give back. So I'm involved in Cub Scouts with my kids, and I'm involved in Boy Scouts. I try to teach them life lessons, lessons that'll help them in life and improve them as, young men and young women in society. I just feel that's important. During COVID, I started getting a little bit more involved in the school side of it, as far as behind the scenes. I've always been supportive of my kids' school and of the schools. But until COVID, it started opening my eyes as to the real problems in other schools, not so much as my kids' school, because it's a magnet school, and we consider it like a village. There's a great group of parents that take care of the school. So I just felt, after researching other schools in Hollywood and some of the other areas, that there's a need for someone like me to speak up, especially from where I came from. I get along with everyone, I'd like to think. I get along with all colors and races. That's something that I grew up with. I grew up in the project, so I had, poor white people around me. I had blacks, browns, just all kinds of different people around me. So I feel I'm well versed, and I try not to just focus on one race or an ethnicity, because when you're poor, you're poor. It affects anybody, not just a color or race. And there are some more races that are more in need of help than others, and that's something that I look into as well. So I decided, with our previous school board member, knowing that she's retiring, I'm going to be finishing up with some Cub Scouts and then just getting involved in the community. I'm going to have a little bit of extra time to get involved, and my little bit of extra time will definitely be more time than the current school board person that's doing in our district. So I think I can make an impact. I try to be fair on all sides. I'm not just straight across the board, all Hispanic. I'm not all black. I'm not all white. My mom is white. My dad is Puerto Rican. I have one of my cousins is married to an African American, and their son is biracial. So I want to make sure that when he gets into the public school system, that he's treated fairly, and there's equity and there's equality, and he's included, and he has all the chances that all the other kids have. So I just feel strongly about getting involved, because that's what I do. I'm a person of action. I fought for my kids to get back into school safely once this pandemic started. I spoke in front of the school board. I advocated. I did certain things in my school to make it safe for the kids. I like to do what I have to do to make things happen. And like I said, I get along with everybody, and I'm trying to do something different, because what I believe this right now, what's going on, because of COVID, and with just everything since COVID, from the political races, it's just ugly out there, and it's an ugly world right now, and I don't like it. And I just feel it's something that's much greater than me as one person. It's all about the kids, and that's what my focus has to be. And people tend to forget about the kids. They make it political. I know Miss Grant mentioned about the mask mandate. People were crazy, and death threats, and just all kinds of craziness going on with school board members. And and it's going to be my job to fight for my district. I'm going to have to listen to my constituents that got me in, and not just think that once I win, forget about how I got there. We should never forget where we came from. We should never forget how we got where we got to. Politicians get in by votes, and they forget that. So when they get in, they have their own agenda. They forget about their constituents, their people. They don't fight, for the right things, and it puts a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth. So, my goal is to win the school board. I have 3 other opponents. It's not going to be an easy fight, but I have the support of the Broward Teacher Union, Debbie Hickson, that just won at large seat, and I have the support of a lot of other people, in the Black community, the Brown community, in all the counties, that I'm going to be racing. So I just think that if I can, be impartial and listen, and I can fight for all the kids, no matter what color or race they are, I think I can be successful. So I'm running to be the school board candidate in District 1. I don't have any hidden agendas. I'm not running for Congress. I'm not running for Senate, mayor. I'm 51 years old now. I plan on retiring in 8 years when my little one's done with high school, and hopefully ride off into the sunset with my wife. That's the plan right now. But I want to do good, by these kids. I want to do right by these kids, no matter, the color, the race, whether they're poor or they're rich. It's just, we have to do right by these kids. I mean, we all have to do better.
So I have a couple questions. I don't know if Narnique, I know you had some first, but I
have
some questions. Because there are some things you said that I wanted you to, that I want to, you might get the audience understand. Okay, so the first one was that you talked about how in your district they have 30 Title I schools. So what's a Title I school? So for those who don't understand what that means, I know you mentioned that, that just means that, maybe low socioeconomic, Black and Brown communities, but what exactly is Title I as you understand it, so we can at least inform our audience of what that is, because most people are like, well, that's the school in the area, that's where they tell me my kids have to go, that's where they're going. They don't think about that part of it.
Right. So I mean, it's got to do with the economics, that are in the area, and basically the funds that are available, and the conditions, and the great. It's an overall score, or what the system's about in that area, the rating of it. Like for me, I remember I had free lunch as a kid. I had to kind of try to whisper, hey, my name is da-da-da, I'm on the free lunch list, and I had gotten free lunch, because my mom couldn't afford it. And that's something I want to try to fix up too, because I know that still happens to this day. I know that kids that, need help, that might be on IEP plans, they get embarrassed easily. They don't want people to know that they need extra time, or they're having issues. Some of those kids, they might be in single family homes, so they don't have all the support of the family that they need. They might be being raised by their grandmother. They could have had a tragedy happen in their family where, they don't have a mother or father around. So there's a whole bunch of different circumstances, but ultimately it comes down to economics, as far as Title I schools and the needs, in the areas. So like I said, there's approximately 30 plus in Hollywood area and District 1 area. I'm not sure if that's the most in all the districts, in the 7 districts that we have, but I know it's a lot. So, and I just feel that coming with my background and all the things that that happened to me as a kid growing up, I think I can be the best voice for all of these kids. I've had a lot of things happen to me in my life that I've came and persevered over, and I just feel that I want to be that voice for these kids.
Okay, so I also have a house divided in terms of where my children go to school. I have one, my daughter's in public school, and my son goes to a charter school. And I believe you said your son's in a Montessori. I don't believe that's part of the public school system. So you want to be the Montessori school it is part of the public school system? Mm-hmm. Okay, so so explain that. Is that like because the Montessoris that I know that we have here are not part of the public school system. So how is it that the
right? So
is?
So Beachside Montessori is approximately 11 years old. It's been around 11 years, and it's actually considered a magnet school. So right, so it's a K through 8 school. So traditionally, Montessori is combined grades. It's almost like what I teach in my Boy Scouts. You have older boys working with the younger boys. It's for Boy Scouts. It's a boy-led troop. I'm there as a supervisor. So the older boys work with the younger boys. Same thing in school. Like my son's in 5th grade, so he would work with the 4th grader that's in his class. Now, when it gets to the 6th grade through 8th, it's a little different because it's more of a traditional middle school, but it is K through 8 and it is a public school. Now, in order to get in,
it's designated as a public school. Is it designated as a public school?
Yes,
Montessori?
it is. It's a K through 8. It's a K through 8 school with Montessori. And what it is basically you get in by lottery is kind of how it works. So that's how you get into that school. And it's a diverse school. I know my kids have been lucky because we got the lottery 10 years ago. We were able to get in when my older son was in kindergarten. So, and then, I've worked hard enough and I've worked, my whole life to exceed, my parents, what they had in their life. And, we as parents, we want our kids to have better than what we had growing up, right? That's kind of what we hope for as if you're a good parent. If you can try to make that happen, we want better for our kids. So yeah, it is a public school.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. I know my son, he goes to a charter school. I think they get public money, but it's not considered a public school.
That's true. They do.
That's a little,
it's a little different, but
yeah. All right. All right, Narnie, go ahead with your question.
So I have a couple of questions. So one of them is that you were appointed to the DAC, right?
Yes.
And then you also I'm gonna get to that. I just want to lay this out. So you were appointed to the DAC by Debbie Hickson, right? And then you also, I don't know if you created this, or you affiliated the LAP program. That's something you created?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So let's jump into the DAC. What is DAC and what is it that you do on that committee?
So I helped Debbie Hickson back in 2020 with her campaign. This was after you were running against her, just so we're clear.
It's okay. We're all about competition. Nobody should run unopposed.
That's right. We
all for it.
I'm all about it. That's right.
Better.
That's right. We're in agreement with that. No one should run unopposed. Go ahead.
So my thing was, I knew her story. I hadn't known her personally at the time, but because I started getting involved and I know what she was running on, I felt compelled that she won. It's not taking anything away from Jeff Holness, because I know he's done good things in the community, but because of her story and just knowing her, getting to know her as a person, I just felt with her 32 years of experience in the school system that, and being the at-large seat, that she can make an impact in a positive way in the community. And she has yet to this day to, prove that otherwise to me, because I'm very proud and glad to say that, we've become friends over this past couple years that I've gotten to know her. So, I helped her with her campaign. My mindset was if she didn't get in, there'd probably be a pretty good chance that the school system was kind of lost in my eyes. Things haven't been going in a positive way for a long time, and we all know that. There's a lot of negative things that have been happening in the system. So personally, I just felt that if she didn't win, I think that the system would go in a different direction. Again, nothing to take away from Jeff Holness, but I just feel that the system needed a different direction to go. So I started to support her.
So tell me what direction is that? Because I'm okay. I'm an attorney, so sometimes when I hear these answers, I need a little more specific, because we deal with generalization in some sense,
right.
but there's a direction. So when you say there's a direction, that means something to you.
So,
let us hear what that direction is, as opposed to just saying that it needs to go in a different direction. What does that direction look like, and what is it that you're expecting?
So Miss Grant mentioned about the MSD tragedy. So there were 17 families that had people murdered with, students, faculty, loved ones. There were 17 people that got injured. So it affected a lot of lives, even though I didn't know any of them at the time. Just knowing that it was in my county, that, it made it, in my backyard, it hit my heart really hard. And I felt pain for them. So knowing that, I know that she's fighting for school safety. And she's been fighting for mental health of a lot of people. Mental health, we know, affects it. Mental health, like anything, does not see color, race. It does not judge anybody by whether they're good or bad. It's just something that affects people. Same thing. You have the mental health, and you have the school safety aspect of it. We all want to know that whether our kids go to a private school or a public school, that our kids are going to be safe. We don't want to have to, drop them off worrying, like, is this the last time we're going to see our kids? So by her being affected directly with her husband dying, trying to protect kids, I knew, that she would fight to bring school safety and, push for more mental health in Broward County, and possibly, who knows how far it could reach,
Right. So Rod, I don't mean to cut you. That's still explain the direction you're talking about, because
I guess
I don't mean to cut you. Safety and security and mental health is a top priority, I think, for everybody. But prior, are you just talking only about safety and security and mental health, or the overall direction of where the board or where the district is going, the school district?
I think it's the whole district. So with those 2 points, that's what happened with the diversion program, with the person that did the murders. He was in a program that was failed, in the school system. It shouldn't have happened.
Wait, I'm gonna have to stop you. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna have to stop you. Are you saying that the Promise program is a failed program? Is that what you're saying?
No. That particular person. No. Okay. Look, I'm all about second chances for anybody. Okay. Don't get me wrong. Look, I made mistakes in my past where, I have some regrets. We all have regrets and things that we did. We kind of wish we can go back and make changes. Promise program? No. I'm all about second chances, and I'm all about not just, throwing people out to the wolves, especially when they're younger, because I still believe that people can be molded. That's why I teach Boy Scouts, because my boys make mistakes still. And if I just, said, hey, you get one shot to make a mistake and you're done, I throw you to the curb and to the side. How does that make me as a leader, as an adult? That's not the right thing to do. So we have to teach these kids the right way. And when they're on a wrong path, we have to get them back on the right path. And that's our job as good leaders to do that. So it's not that the program has failed. It's just that particular kid at the time, it didn't work for him. That system failed that kid.
So there was a lot of mistakes that was made when dealing with that kid. And I don't think the Promise program is even one of the bigger ones, right? One of the things we also found out that happened was that somebody contacted FBI and told him that this boy was a possible threat. And somehow the FBI didn't get that information to do something about that and stop this tragedy, right? There were a lot of adults that was in this kid's life that made mistake, and again, at the end of the day, he's the one that went into that school with those 9 magazines, shot off 5 of them and killed 17 people and injured another 17. But he didn't get there by himself, right? Because there are laws that are in place that don't allow children to raise themselves, right? They hold adults responsible, parents, people in schools or whatever. So yes, he's the one who did it that day, but there are a lot of grown-ups that failed him along the way that created what it is that we saw. Because it's not like he's 50 and did this. He was like 19 and did this, right? So grown-ups are supposed to take care of you at least until you're 18. So all this is not necessarily on him. And I'm not trying to garner any sympathy, but I just don't like the fact, and I'm just gonna say, I don't like the fact that all of these adults that could have done something, that should have done something, that didn't do anything, is putting all of this at his front door, and he did not get there on his own. He did not get that on his own. A lot of grown-ups failed him, and that's how he ended up.
Same thing with the sheriff. Look, it's just like the sheriff that was there at the school. Cowardly, he just hid. He didn't, do his job that he was supposed to do. So there's a lot of factors, for the outcome, of the mass murder that took place. And it ultimately comes down to the adults that raise these kids. That's why I'm in positions to be a leader for kids, because I want to teach them the right way to come up. I didn't have both parents to teach me right or wrong. I can use, my upbringing as an excuse and say, oh, well, I am the way I am because I didn't have a dad in my life. That's just a cop-out. It's an excuse. I am the way I am because I had a strong mother that raised me, and she did the best that she could. And then I have the right mindset as a human being to know right from wrong. And I made the right decisions for myself as well. So it's a collaboration of people that make it work for all of these kids. And it's our duty to make sure that these programs, Promise programs, all of these other programs that these kids need help with, we cannot fail them. And again, as adults, we all have to do better. All of us, myself included.
So there was a question in the chat, which I thought was a great question. Carly, I'm gonna put it up here. Carly Doherty asked, how will you address the shortage of qualified teachers and guidance counselors, especially at the high school level?
All right. So from what I understand, what being in Scouts, I have multiple hats on myself. I'm a den leader for my younger son in Cub Scouts. I'm a Scout master in my older son. And then I do a lot of in between. So I have multiple hats on my head that I'm changing, which I'm still able to be effective, but I'm not as effective as I could be as if I had one hat on. So with that being said, when I get in, I do not want to have a guidance counselor be, someone else's IEP planner, or they don't need to have 5 different hats. I need my guidance counselor to focus on guiding these kids and not worrying about, and I know that all comes down to budget, but I've always been telling people Broward County is the largest employer in Broward County with 30,000 employees, over a $4 billion a year budget. And you're going to tell me that I still have teachers that need to buy supplies for their classrooms. I have, kids that don't have supplies, in class or school that they need. We should be providing these things. There is money. It's just not budgeted. To the people
right. who had us vote for the lotto. You know what I mean? Because I was in high school when they said the lotto was supposed to bring money to education. They got all these lottos. It's like 50,000 different ones that you can play every day, 3, 4, 5 times a week, and all these jackpots. And that money's not going to the school. So I don't know if it's just Broward County. Talk to the people that tricked folks into voting for a lottery that was supposed to make education better, and it's only gotten worse since then.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I'll tell you that dollar that you spend hoping to, be life-changing, it's definitely not life-changing for any student in the school system.
But that's how they sold it. That's how they convinced people to vote for it.
I'm not saying that nothing's being done because I haven't done the research on that. But there's nothing that I see, and I'm sure like you see out there, that's visible enough to make a change. So, I had some questions brought to me about substitute teachers. It's not just a shortage here. There's a shortage everywhere with substitute teachers, and it comes down to like any job, right? Like pay and appreciation. So if a person is not being paid, enough to make a living or a decent living, and they're not being shown appreciation in their position, there's a pretty good chance you're going to lose that person to go somewhere else. So we've lost, unfortunately, a lot of teachers. We lost a lot of subs, and it's not just here in Broward County. It's something that I've been researching. It's nationwide. So I think if we can get back to, we're pushing the $15 minimum wage. When you have a McDonald's employee that could be possibly making more than a substitute teacher, there's something wrong, because that substitute teacher is going to help raise that kid at McDonald's, or have done that. And that person's making more money than the other person. Something's just not right in this world.
So that means as a school board member, you will go up to Tallahassee and fight for legislation. The governor just started, I think he implemented where, teachers who just graduate are making a little bit more than some teachers who've been teachers for 5 years. And there's
that's kind of so he wanted to make the teachers the top 5%, right, in the country, but that screwed the teachers that have been around for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It made the newer teachers, like you said, they're okay with it. But then, if I'm paying my dues as a teacher, and then, you have this person that comes in and they're making more money than me, that's going to make me think like I'm not appreciated. So I love the kids, and a lot of teachers love what they do, and that's why they do it, because they're teachers and they love the kids. But there becomes a time when you have to say enough is enough. And the pandemic has exposed all of that, and teachers have overworked and underpaid for such a long time. And we have to get that level back up, because our kids, it's not only the teachers deserve it. When the teachers get the proper pay, it trickles down to better teaching to our kids. Because if you have a happy teacher, they're going to go out and they're going to teach more. They're going to do more to make sure that their kids have the education that they need. If they're happy, we have to make sure that, everybody's making a decent living. Not everybody's going to be rich, and they got to deserve it too, though.
You say so much stuff. Okay.
No, you have to deserve it.
No.
Right?
I'm an educator too. I talk about being an attorney, but I'm also a professor, and I wish they paid me more. I love teaching, but I don't get paid enough.
I can't just say like all teachers should make $50,000, right? Because like people ask me, oh, what do you think about cops? Look, I have family that are cops. I love cops. I feel safe at night because we have cops, but they're good cops. They're bad cops. Some cops should make more, some should make less. Teachers should make more. It depends on the person. So if you're a good teacher, you should get good pay. If you're a decent teacher, you should get decent pay. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, all teachers need to make $100,000 a year. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you're a good teacher, you should be paid, for what you deserve and what you're worth.
Okay. So about this labor shortage that we have throughout the United States, right? And so we're talking about teachers right now. So one of the reasons why some teachers didn't come back is they're like, listen, I'm immune compromised. I can't be in these COVID streets still. I may not be able to get vaccinated because of my autoimmune situation. And then some parents don't want to send their children to school. Some of them have made the decision to register them through Florida Virtual. Others are like, no. Would you support an option to allow some students to go remote again in order to bring some of those teachers back in the fold that weren't able to go back into a physical building because the governor insisted that everybody go back?
So during the beginning of the pandemic, I advocated for my kids to go back to school in person when it was safe for them to go back. Okay. Meaning that, when the numbers were around 5% positivity rate, I spoke in front of the school board in the construction mentality of MERV 13 air filters, which are provided in hospitals. Not something that's equivalent or close to for our kids, but MERV 13 air filters, because that's what they put in hospitals. That captures the particles and it doesn't allow it to impurify the air. Like it keeps it more purified. It captures it. So it's not going to just circulate through the school system. I spoke about UV lighting. I spoke about all kinds of things in the school system to make it safe for my kids to go back to school. So I was labeled as just, one of those crazy parents that just wanted to get their kids back to school for no reason. And
you wanted them out of the house.
No, because I wasn't working much at the time.
No, it was a lot of parents like, yo, send them to school, let them get COVID. I'm tired of them being home for a year.
Look, I'm not going to lie. Like, I work 50, 60 hours a week, and my wife is a stay-at-home mom. I would rather go work 60 hours a week than deal with her work, because she works way harder than I do. I'm not going to lie. Like, when I was home for the pandemic, I was like technical support, and I was a teacher, and man, that was a lot of work, and then still trying to work in between. The workload wasn't as much, but, I was like, man, I'll be glad when this COVID's over so I can get back to work. I'd rather be out there on the streets working every day harder. That my wife's got it harder here. And I'm like, but I just kind of saw the need, for that. So I just feel we need to get these kids back to school safe. And so, there has to be an agreement when it comes to cameras and teaching and modality between the teachers union and the school board. You can't just flip a switch and say, okay, we're going to do this and that. There has to be an agreement between the parties, because it's got to be fair to the teachers. We don't want them to be overworked, but we want to make sure that, the teachers are compensated. So with that being said, the remote part, I actually started a Facebook group called Broward Parents and Teachers e-learning originally, just to see how I can help spread the word to make e-learning easier. I think there are some good things about it. I think, when we have a hurricane hit, I think as a school board member, I can have my assistant secretary send out an email and say, hey, at these schools in my district, we don't have power. We're going to be remote learning. You're going to get onto your computer. If you don't have one, we're going to provide a better one than the Lenovo's that we provided previously. But we're going to have something that works. Hopefully they'll have free Wi-Fi, that follow those tablets or computers, and then just switch over to remote learning. I'm okay with them going and teaching remotely, but as we know, the governor shut that down. And then you have Broward Virtual School, but that's not the same as learning, because my son had some friends in that Broward Virtual, and it was just a matter of they upload some tasks and assignments you have to do. The kids do it at their leisure. You're not sitting in front of a camera with one-on-one communication and interaction. So you kind of, these kids lost a lot of that during COVID. They lost a lot of that interaction. They lost, a lot of these kids, they're sitting, with the phone. I could be like you right now, and I'm texting you and you're only 2 feet away from me, and we're communicating by phone because that's the only way they know how. That's been lost in this, in just in society, communication. Like my son can't even talk to another kid unless it's on a device, and that's something we got to fix as well. But I am definitely down for remote learning if it keeps people safe, if there's immunity, autoimmune systems, or if there's something wrong. I know there's been some teachers that have passed away recently that they didn't have any autoimmune deficiencies or any underlying disorders, but they still didn't want to get the vaccine, and they did, unfortunately they passed away. So, that's a whole nother, topic and issue, but it's just, there's a lot of misinformation out there, which is unfortunate as well. So I don't know if that answered your question.
No. So it could be an option for some, because it would get some teachers back, into teaching if they were allowed to work from home. And there are some parents that would prefer a remote setting. So it doesn't, maybe if they do some studies, maybe it would be like only 20% of the students would want a setup like that. And I think it should make it available, because ultimately, what I think is important is that the students get educated, right? Students are entitled to an education. And if that's what needs to happen in order for them to get educated, then I think we should be willing to do that.
These poor kids are so far behind in education right now. It's sad. And
it's tough, yeah.
People say, oh, kids are resilient, and yeah, they're resilient if they fall from 20 feet tree. They'll bounce a little bit as opposed to somebody older, and they'll heal quicker. But the mental aspect is still the mental aspect. This is something that's going to impact these kids for years to come. There's social issues, the mental issues. That we have to fix the system that's been broken for the past 10 years. To get these kids back. It's not just COVID. The only thing COVID did was it made people woke. It woke me up. I'm more aware of the little things that I wasn't aware of because I was on the other side of working and trying to provide for my family so my wife can, do the things with the kids at the school and try to help volunteer and do all those things that, I wasn't able to do when, I was growing up, with my mom.
All right, so we're gonna get into some controversial things because there's a lot.
Really? It's gonna be controversial already?
Yeah.
I did want to ask one question.
We haven't started yet? Oh wait.
No, of course not. I don't know.
Controversial yet?
No, the chat is on fire. Like they about to start all kind of mess in that chat over there. Well, it's like on fire. But I did wanna ask, because you did talk about two important issues with safety and security, and addressing mental health issues in the school. And just on the news a couple of days ago, there was a student who ended up like getting into an altercation with a teacher, and there was some talk, that there might have been like some mental health issues. I saw a clip of her. I don't know her well enough. So, first of all, what does a safe school look like to you? Because I know that now they've started with the one in, one way out. The doors are locked before you come in. They have cameras at the door, so you can, so they've done that. What in addition to that would you do? And how do we address the mental, how would we start addressing mental health issues in a school, especially with HIPAA laws and all these different things? So safety and security, what that looks like to you first, and then let's talk about what the mental health piece would be.
So if you look at my website, voteforvelez.com, you'll see a whole list of topics. It's always evolving because I do shows like this, and I think, Sandra had a great idea, Miss Grant had a great idea. So I'm making changes because it evolves like life, right? Mm-hmm. So my ideas are my ideas, but all my ideas come from multiple places and people. It's not just my sole ideas. It's something that I have beliefs in, and I believe that can help my kids in my district excel. So the safety part, one of the things that I think we need to do is there needs to be better vetting of safety officers or SROs in our schools, school resource officers. You can't necessarily put a white man in a predominantly Black school that doesn't understand where he's at. The kids, could possibly, they'll look at him in a different way as opposed to, having someone that understands the culture and that has a better bond. I want to try to improve upon the relationship with the police officers that are at the schools with the students. The kids shouldn't fear the people that are supposed to be there to protect them. They need to work together with these officers to keep everybody safe. And I think, with your 1 point entry, there's still some work that needs to be done on that. That's what they're pushing. There's still some flaws in that. They're pushing the apps now that they have, Safe School. I can't think of it at the moment. It's on my website.
Is it the one about that Alyssa Alhadeff, like Miss Alhadeff is promoting?
It's Alyssa's law. Yeah, it is. So what that let me look it up because you ladies have me, I'm like starstruck here. So my mind isn't working the way it's supposed to be.
I mean, we had that effect on.
We do. We try.
I'm just kidding.
Me and my twist and her curly hair.
Yeah.
It's the curls that I love, because that wasn't on your campaign picture. You might have won if you had that on your campaign picture.
If I had the curls, right? If I had
just saying, that's just my opinion from a man's perspective.
Right.
All right. So so we have okay. So Safer Watch is what it's called. Okay, which is part of Lori Olived's mission with her daughter that got killed at the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas massacre in 2018, Alyssa. So she had Alyssa's Law, and the smartwatch app is something that they are pushing for staff and faculty at schools to download on their phones. And it's not something that tracks you. It's something that only is geofenced in the school area, which means that when you have the app open and you're in the vicinity of a school, it functions the way it's supposed to function. If there's a fire, it has a button to hit for fire. It will call the fire rescue. If there is paramedics needed, it will have an ambulance come. If there's need for police officer assistance in the area, it will have the assistance come, and you can communicate back and forth. So it's something that I think all the staff and faculty should download on their phones. I have it on my phone. If you don't want it to be tracked, or you want to be tracked, there's a setting that you just go to and you turn it off. While you're not using it, it's not used or tracked. So that's the safety aspect of it, that hopefully there's a better response time, because they have the facility that has thousands of cameras that are labeled, and, the reaction time is supposed to be really fast, so that way if something unfortunately does happen, they'll know exactly what they need to do, and they need to disperse at the school, to make it safe or to save a life. The mental health part of it, again, we have to make sure that we have qualified, not the next best thing. We need qualified personnel, someone that has a degree in mental health, someone that's not just a guidance counselor and the mental health person and a janitor after hours, and someone that, does nursing, part-time. We need to have specific roles for these particular people. And that will help, because when little Johnny comes and he tells them, hey, I'm having some problems at home, we want to build that rapport with that one person. And if that one person can't give little Johnny all the time that he needs, then, that's when things start going wrong. And that kid falls through the system. And then 10 years later, something bad happens, and they say, well, little Johnny, wasn't dealt with when he was 6 years old, so.
And that's the issues that are faced with the district, with this one person. But with a district this size, you're the sixth largest district.
Sixth largest. Yeah.
With a district this size, having one specific person where the kid doesn't go to several different people is not realistic, only because in terms of the sheer size of the school district, right? So while I commend that, and I'm hoping that there's a way you can figure that out to kind of make it
well, that's just one facet, though. That's one facet, because we all need to come together. Everyone cannot rely just on the Broward County public school system. So, you asked me before about the LAP program, the learning, accessibility, and providing that I started during COVID. I knew that there were a lot of kids in the Title I school areas that had a need. Look, let's be real. These Lenovo computers that they give out to the kids are crap. So I was able to raise about $10,000, and it was given to my program. And through Big Brothers Big Sisters, they helped me find the proper kids that can utilize having their own laptop and computer. So I was able to with the collaboration with them, we were able to purchase approximately 43 laptops and give it out to the community, to the kids that needed it the most. Okay. And they still have them till this day. And that's something that I'm pushing more. I'm trying to get that more out there into the public, but I'm trying to run for candidacy as well. So, when, Narnique, when you run, it takes up a lot of your time, and especially if you want to win. So some things have to be put on hold. But it's something that I feel that's a need, people donate old laptops that they have. I have someone that'll help clean it out. We can donate it to a kid that needs it. They can download some apps that teach them math, that free apps, that they can use. And this is just something that they can have, because it's not something that their parents or family are able to provide for them. I had hand-me-downs my whole life as a kid. I know what it's like to have, I don't think I ever had new stuff, as a kid. I had one of my best friends, he was taller than me, so I had his hand-me-downs, so the only thing I think I didn't have was shoes, but anyway, that's something as a community, not just the Broward County system. We have to find organizations that can help. There's hunger, so it's not just one person that feeds people for hunger. I think it's got to be a collaboration.
Yeah, and I think they do that already with clergy, churches. Right. They have collaborations with those organizations. Right. Big brother, big sister, as you mentioned. And so it does take a village. We all know that. So we want to get to some of these questions because some of these people are antsy on here. What are your views about the mandates?
What mask mandates? Is that what you're asking him?
I'm assuming this is what they're talking about because there's like 3 questions about the mask I think it's the mask mandates. Yes. What are your views about the mask mandates?
So look, these are not normal times for us. As someone that would be elected, I have to listen to what my constituents want. It's not what my beliefs are as a human being. My beliefs as a human being is that I personally received the vaccine myself. I have my mother living next door. She's 74 years old. She doesn't have any underlying conditions, but I don't want to take a chance with her life because I love my mother, just for what she's done for me, throughout my life. So that's my belief. When I'm around people, I wear a mask because I want to make sure that if I do happen to be asymptomatic and I don't want to pass something on to somebody else. I don't want to feel that guilt if, I pass it on to someone that has an underlying, condition, they die, for whatever reason. I don't want that guilt on my conscience. That's my belief, but District 1, if I have the consensus of the parents that they want a mask mandate, then that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to vote for a mask mandate because I feel that's what my constituents want. We spoke before, politicians, even though this is a nonpartisan seat, it's still political. Let's be real. Let's not BS each other. They play politics all the time. But I have to do right by my constituents because those are the people that vote me in. They believe in me, so I would have, if my constituents wanted it, I would have voted for it. That's what my
what about a vaccine? What about a vaccine mandate? So the mask is one thing. What about a vaccine mandate?
Look, the vaccine is a whole different ball game. I'm not going to force somebody. Look, there's conversation that people, the vaccine, they're putting a chip in my arm and look, scan it, it beeps, and they don't need that. Like this is better than a chip. It listens. It follows you.
It's a tracking device. Yeah, it sure does.
It sure is.
No privacy rights.
You can be talking about, I'm going to move some barbecue tonight. And then
it's coming up on your Facebook feed.
Hey, go to Joe's. This barbecue. Like, wait a minute. I didn't even type it in. I just talked about it.
Right.
So don't worry about a vaccine putting a microchip in you. Worry about the device. But anyway, I don't feel that crosses the line to me. I've never gotten a vaccine shot for the flu. I feel like I'm an epidemiologist after all of this. I've learned that there's over 100 strains of the flu. And when they give you the flu shot, there's only like 4 viruses that they inject in you. So, it's like almost like winning the lottery. People get sick when they get the flu shot. So there's no guarantee. And I know a lot of people die from the flu, and a lot of people die from anything. And I'm not, shrugging off COVID, because there's over 5 million people that it passed recently for death. And that's horrible. Right. It probably could have been avoided, that massive number.
What if the board, well, here's a question, which is a good question. Should Broward teachers be required to get vaccinated in order to work in the schools? How do you feel about
that? They haven't been mandated, because I mean, like I said, there's like 4 staff that died, in the past 6 months from it because they weren't vaccinated. Now, I'm not sure if it was the news that scared them or if they had an autoimmune deficiency, or I know people that have autoimmune deficiencies and they can't get it and they're horrified to go anywhere. It's a mental thing too. So,
if it was brought up to the board and you're on the board now, let's say you were elected and it was brought up to the board at some point, they want all teachers to be required to get shots in order to be in the classroom. How would you be?
So again, I have to, this isn't a political answer, but I have to go to my constituents. The teachers are my voters also. Just because they're teachers doesn't mean they can't vote for me. So I need to go and reach out to my teachers and say, hey, what do you guys think about this? We have to have a conversation. I can't just go in there and just say, oh, we got to get shots. Rod Velez says, let's get shots. So that's got to be what it is.
Right.
I won't last more than one term, because I know Sandra will have my head on the stick, so, but you got to listen to the people no matter what. You got to stay focused.
You serve the people, and the people are who drives your decision-making process, right? Is that fair to say?
That's what it comes down to. I have to stick. Look, when it comes to partisanship, I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. My seat is nonpartisan. That means that these kids come first, and I listen to everybody. No matter how crazy the idea may seem to me, I listen to all sides. I get along with everybody. I might not get along. I get along with most people. I might not get along with everybody. I'm not everybody's cup of tea at certain times, but I feel I can win over the majority and fight for the majority. You're never going to get everybody to like you, no matter what.
And you don't have to, and they don't have to. Everyone does not have to like you.
You're not going to make everybody happy.
Yeah, and you don't, everyone doesn't have to like you. So
I'm going to do my best job that I can do for my people and for the kids. It's the kids. Like I said, it's greater than me. It's not about me. It's about these kids that I'm going to be representing.
Right. You always want to be respected. They don't have to like you. As long as they respect you, it's important to me.
Look, when I become 60 years old, 70, 80, when I can't function anymore,
okay, so the 60 and 70-year-olds are about to be mad at you because that's not old, okay?
I'm 50.
They're gonna be like,
I'm 51 now.
60.
And look, I'm 51 now, and I'm like, damn, I can remember back 20 years ago, and I looked at a 50-year-old person. I'm like, damn, you're old. But now that I'm 51, I'm like, I don't feel old. I only, unless somebody tells me something, or there's like a song that I hear back from the 80s when I graduated. I'm like, damn, that's a jam. But they're like, damn, you're old.
So I don't mean to cut you off, but I have to tell you something about when you talk about music. So I teach students at a college, right? And I was talking about Slick Rick, like they knew who Slick Rick was. They're like, who are you talking about? Yeah. I'm like, y'all don't know Slick Rick? But yeah, those kids don't know Slick Rick. Oh my goodness.
I can't believe it. If I say Africa Bambaataa to somebody, they're like,
no, they don't know who you're talking about. Not this group.
They know Two Live Crew now.
Yeah. They'll know Luke is local. He's a hero. First Amendment cases. They know Two Live Crew. Yeah.
They don't know, But what I was saying though is when you get older, that you can't take care of yourself. I want to know that these kids that I'm helping today can read a bottle and they can look at it and say, I'm giving Mr. Velez something for his blood pressure and not an enema. I want to make sure these kids are educated. I got to make sure these kids know what they're talking about and know what they're doing. We want us, I'm a little scared, for the future of our world, right now, because some of these kids, they're so detached and with the electronics, and I'm like, man, these guys are gonna be running our country in 10 years, 20 years.
They're completely desensitized. Completely.
Yeah, man, it scares me at times. So we gotta fight. We gotta make this thing, right.
Hot button. Before we go, just the last.
Yes, thank you so much for spending so much time with us. But we do have one more question.
I know you're busy. So the hot button question, and I know this is going to come up starting next year, is critical race theory. Right. And you got a whole bunch of people here who probably don't know what critical race theory is, but they're throwing it in there like that's something that's happening in K through 12. But talk a little bit about critical race theory. What are your thoughts on critical race theory? And is critical race theory being taught right now, currently, K to 12 in Broward County?
So this is a fun subject. You said hot button, absolutely. So when I announced my endorsement from the Broward Teachers Union, and just being a parent, and I wasn't a teacher, I had both sides, come at me hard. I try to find equal common ground with people. We can agree to disagree on certain things, but I want to try to figure out solutions to make things work for these kids. So from my understanding, doing my research, now by you being an attorney, it's probably something that you learned in law school. That's something that they teach in college. A lot of people try to say that it's being taught in the public school system. Personally, I'm not aware that it's being taught. And if it is, I ask people, I say, look, if CRT is being taught in our school, which schools? I want to know, because I do have, a lot of people that I can talk to try to make sure, but I don't, like I said, I have my cousin, I have other people, who knows what I'm mixed with, my cousin's son is half black, and I don't want him to grow up in this world of hate. I don't think anybody should be judged by the color of their skin, or a curriculum should be taught around any race. I don't think we should erase history either. History is something that's there. It might not be pretty, but it's something for us to learn from and to not make the same mistake. Personally, I don't want to make the same mistake twice for anything that I do. As a man, as a human being, that's just something I'm against. I'm strong. I have a strong belief about making the same mistake twice. So like I said, it's something that's out there. It's talked about. I try not to talk about it because my main focus is to deal with these kids and get them what they need. If I start talking about critical race theory, then what that's doing is that's taking away my personal time to focus on any kind of solution I can get these kids to help them with their mental health, the school safety, anything that they need. It's taking time away from that topic and issue. And these kids deserve better than that. So like I say, if it is being taught in the schools, I'm not aware of it. By being involved in the schools around the district and outside the district, some teachers have their opinions on things, and they might try to push certain agendas, and that could happen. But if it is, reach out to your school board member. Go to browardschools.com. Their emails out there, write them and say, hey, my teacher at my school is teaching this. I don't think it's appropriate. Make sure that you're aware. I tell people to get involved with your kid's school. It's easier said than done, but that's why I'm running now, because I started getting involved on a different level. Unfortunately, I'm a person that I'm an alpha male. So when I say I'm going to do something, I tend to do it. And I said, I'm going to run because I want to change the ward. I want to change the school system. It's not just me. It's, I need the votes. I need the donations. I'm not using this as a platform to, improve my business or improve anything in my life. I've busted my butt to get where I'm at in life. You know, I've been working since I was a kid, hustling on the streets, you know, doing legal things, you know, so I'm trying to make it right. And I want all these kids to have that same opportunity, you know, that I've had. And I want them to, I want to show them that you can be successful in life. And that's going to be my focus. And I'm going to address these issues as they come up, but I'm going to try to focus on the real issue is the kids. I'm going to try to leave that background noise to the side and let my team or other people deal with it as much as possible.
All right. Thank you.
All right.
Is that the only hot button that you got? That's it?
Yeah, I mean, there's some other stuff.
It's hot in the chat because some people are saying no, they're teaching it. It's embedded in the curriculum.
I'll give you some more time. I'll give you some more time. I'm here. Look, this is what we're about. It's not.
Yeah.
You know,
we got a few people here who are who believe that it is being taught, is embedded in the curriculum, is being taught under the guise of implicit bias, is being taught under the guise of you know, whatever it is that you know, I'm gonna call it.
Nestor says that it's all over math, English, science, social studies. It's embedded in the curriculum.
All right.
So what is that? What is that person's interpretation of?
Well, we should ask you, Sarah, what is critical race theory, sis? Type that in the chat. Let us know what you think that is.
And that's Nestor, one thing. And Nestor also said that it's in the curriculum.
Right. Hold on. Where did he say that? Let me, because I'm gonna put them up here because they, you know,
right
he said it's absolutely, it's all over math. What did he say? He's all over. Go ahead, Sandra. Put it up there. It's all over math, English, science, study. And so, Nestor, can you put your definition of critical race theory? Tell us what that is.
And so while they're doing that, you know, you did say you had a construction background, and you know, and one of the things that we saw happening, not in your district, in another district where roofs were falling in on the students in the building, right? There's moles in the building.
Rickards, are we talking about Rickards or are we talking about somewhere else?
You know, I don't want to call no people out because, you know, we just know that there's some schools in Broward County.
Isn't this a real channel?
And the roof was falling in.
Let's
while
keep
the kids
it
were
real.
in the building.
You can keep it real. If it's Rickards Elementary, then whatever Rickards Elementary.
Let's keep it real. Let's call people out. It's okay. I'm not worried about hurting people's feelings. Like, these kids deserve better. Like, if my kid was in that school, as a parent, I'd be pissed. Let me tell you that. That's why they shut down 4 other schools with that same building makeup. So, and now they're building a new school, you know. And if that school didn't fall down,
how would you think your construction background will help with this? The completion of the perverse.
You talking about a 6-year delay too.
Yeah, you said
so, how do we get this moving?
All right, so you get a normal school board member that's been in the school system for 20 years. Let's say Ann Murray, that's in District 1. Her background, she was a bus driver, right? So what's a bus driver going to know when she walks in the building? You know, she's just going to kind of look around.
Hold on 1 second, Rod. I didn't ask you about implicit bias training, Sarah. I asked you what critical race theory was. And if you're saying that critical race theory is implicit bias, that is not the definition, sis. Look it up.
No.
All right, so type in with her and let Rod answer the question because we need to not have no more moles and roof collapsing in the schools.
So for me, one of my things is I'm going to have the luxury of being the school board member in District 1. I have over 50 schools, which are charter, adult centers, you know, K through 8 schools, high schools, you know, just all the schools. So I'm going to make my way through all the schools. My eyes are trained like you're being an attorney. So when you hear the attorney jargon that you just know it just clicks. So when I'm walking into a building, I can just look around. I don't even have to like stop. I can just walk through a building and I can scan everything like the Terminator. And I can tell you if it's on the top floor, if there's a roof leak. I can tell you if the HVAC system's the filters are cleaned frequently. I can tell you if the windows are leaking. I can just, that's just because of my background and just because of my brain. That's the way I'm programmed and the way I process things. So one of my things that I vow to do is to go through each school and visit every school. I'm going to start with Dania, and there's 3 schools that need a lot of help. Dania is in bad condition. Let me tell you, those kids deserve way better than what they're getting, than what they've gotten. And I'm already working in that area too. And I know you know people in that area as well, but I don't mind stepping on toes as long as these kids, get their schools fixed up. And I don't mind working with people either. It's not just about stepping on toes. So to the chat real quick, if anybody, regardless if it's in my District 1, if you know of somebody that's teaching critical race theory, look up the definition first, like we said, and make sure that it really is and not just something that you don't agree with. Go to my website. It's got all my contact information. Email me, reach out to me. And like I said, I know people in other districts. I'm not afraid to step on toes. It's the kids. It doesn't matter just because there's a lion there, imaginary lion, doesn't mean I don't care about that kid over there. Like, I'll just send it to the right person and make sure that they address it and they deal with it. Yeah, I'm just going to inspect all my schools, and then it gets infectious, right? When you have something good, Obama won, his candidacy because he did something different than anybody else did. He went out there and he did texting, and he did the internet, and he got the people to come out and vote for him. That's one of the main, not just because he is who he is, but he tried something different outside the box. These kids deserve something different. They don't need the same old crap that's been going through these systems for the past 10, 20 years. They need a culture change.
At the end of the day, the board has to vote together on issues anyway, right? So you have to get your colleagues on board in order for certain issues to pass and things to get done.
So if I can do something good in my district, they see that I'm doing something good. So it becomes infectious in other areas. So when you print, is undefeated in football, and they're 15-0 or 13-0, and then that team that they play beats them, what's going to happen? All the other teams are going to say, how did they beat that team? They're going to look and they're going to figure out the blueprint on how that team won and beat the undefeated team. So they're going to use that blueprint, and that team will probably lose maybe two or three other games throughout the year, but there's a blueprint. And if you have that one team that figures it out as a team, it's not just me, it's going to be my team. Hopefully I'll be working with Narnique down the road, with Sandra, because you're some smart ladies that have great ideas. And I'm not the messiah, I'm just a parent that cares, that gives a crap about these kids and that wants to see different in this school system.
And I'm going to add a little humor. I have to say, when you said that 15-0 undefeated team, I was thinking about I think it was 2008 New England Patriots. They went 16-0 and lost the Super Bowl. So any Patriots
I love that moment.
Was just triggered when he talked about it. They got the last game that matters. Oh, Cowboys. Okay.
That's my team. And
that's your team? Okay.
We haven't been there in quite a while. So I've been a fan since I was 13. So, just so you know, I was glad about that Super Bowl just between us.
The 72 Dolphins were too.
Right. Well, that 72 Dolphins were a little different. They went all
they were
the way.
undefeated. I'm saying they still have the win streak. So they were keep it up, keep losing.
They killed it. It don't matter what you do for the year. It's what you do at the end. It's not what you talk to get to the game. It's how you act in the game. Yeah. So I can talk all this crap in front of everybody right now, and then if I don't perform, when I get in, then I'm only gonna last 4 years. Mm-hmm. I got 8 years to give to this. That's my goal. To give to these kids. And then I'm out. I'm retired, and
we're one of those people that believe in term limits. So
at
least I know I do. It's like you shouldn't keep that job for 50 years. It's too long.
No. 8 is good. No. Keep it at 8. When I leave, if you want to raise it. Until I leave, keep it at 8. I'm good with 8 because my wife will have my head if I go more than 8. So.
It is good.
Well, we want to just
right.
thank you so much for coming here, because what we usually do after we talk to the candidates, we do a recap. And I'm like bubbling over in here. I need to do a recap because I need to address some of the people in the chat. But we appreciate you coming.
Yes.
We love your fire. We love your tenacity. We love your commitment to the kids. We want to have you back once the campaign starts to pick up a little bit more, just so you can kind of hit some of your points and some of the, because right now is the early stages, and then when you start hitting the real campaign, you start narrowing down your 3 points that are the highlight of what you're going to be doing, and you'll have more information and a better sense and direction on where you're going. And we want to invite you back so you can talk about that. And then if there are other candidates who would like to do a forum with us, with you, obviously, we would like to do that as well. But we like to do one candidate.
We're not big on forums. Like we're not, we're more about, we want you to come on, tell us what you're about. The people get to see you and give you your own time.
But I'm just saying that is not out of the question if that's something that you guys are interested in.
Well, a few folks, not a whole bunch.
When Narnique and I spoke, last week, I told her I'm an open book. You ask me anything. Look, I've done things that happened in my life, and it's like, stuff happens, and you deal with it as it goes. To me, it's where you're at now as a human being, not what you've done in the past. If you stay straight and you do the right thing. Look, I'm up for if you want to fill the screen up with other people, with my other 3 opponents. My goal is to win on August 23rd. I want, these kids deserve that time from August to November for me to focus on how I'm going to get my team together, how I can bring Narnique on my side, and win her over and have her great ideas. How can I pick Sandra's brain, for the kids in my school district to help out, because you guys have been doing this for a while, like you're pros at it, and I'm just the beginning of it, but I'm welcome to anything that you guys want to bring up. Bring in, I'm open to other candidates. I'm open to individual, whatever you guys want to do. If you want to start bringing in, besides, we
plan to reach out to all the candidates. We always do that.
Absolutely.
And have an opportunity. And it's good for you to kind of view the videos, view your video, and then, move on from there. And then you can also look at the chat with the questions, kind of, get yourself acclimated with what's out there. And know the difference.
Speaking of that, is there anything else that's really hot out there that you saw that I should answer right now?
Some people need to get schooled, so you don't need to deal with that. Some people need to get schooled on.
Yeah, I'm not backing down. When you come back again, people they want to hear, what it is that you plan on doing to bring improve academics in the public school system. Okay. So those are things that you should think about.
Right. There's one lady on here that was asking very, very good questions, and she wants to know, what are you going to do? Like we asked you about, what are you going to do about getting teachers to come back here? What are you going to do to entice teachers from other states to come here? What are you going to do?
You got to raise the pay. That's it. It's all about the money. Like teachers love to teach. They just want to be compensated for it. Right. If you raise the pay, then they're going to come. It's like you build it, they will come. If you pay, they will come. If you show them appreciation, they will come. That's that simple.
And I strongly suggest you go read the comments, because there's a lot of comments about your campaign consultant, your all that other stuff. So you might want to go look at that and talk about it. So we're gonna wrap up and leave. But we thank you. We want you to come back. I hope you will come back.
Absolutely.
And talk to us, and then we can take it from there. Thank you so much.
But he got to tell people how to get in touch with him, how to donate money, how to volunteer for you.
You already put it up. Go to Vote for Velez. I have donate buttons all over. Look, you don't have to live in my district to help these kids out. You can be in Seattle. All you need to do is hit that donate button on my website, Vote for Velez, and I have a questionnaire. You can do phone banks. You can pass out signs. My email is there. So if you want to reach out to me, I will get back to you.
Tell us your email so we can put it in the chat. And if you have a phone number to give out, give us that number. We'll put it in the chat.
So my email is my name, Rod Velez, 954, which is my area code, but at gmail.com.
Gmail.com at Gmail. Okay.
Yeah. And then my personal cell phone, which I'll probably change it after all this. I've had it for 25
don't do that.
years.
Don't give it out if you got to change the number. No. Don't do that.
Don't do that.
We don't need nobody calling at 3 a.m. and you start having problems. Don't do that.
Just have them email me.
Yeah, email is fine.
Email is fine.
My District 1 person got back to me one time, and that's because she got a new secretary during COVID. So I had people contacting me during COVID for questions, and I'm not even the school board member yet. So just reach out to me. And like I said, if you think critical race theory is taught in my district or anywhere else, send me an email. I want details. Send me the school, the teacher, and I'll look into it. I'm going to do my research first. I'm not going to just go and jump straight ahead and just say, oh, they're doing this. I'm going to do my research. But email me. I will definitely get back to you. And if you don't, reach out to Narnique and she'll jump on me. She's got my cell phone number.
I sure will direct them to you, child. Make sure they reach out to you.
Look, if you get calls saying that I'm not reaching back to these people, you post on your next meeting, you put my cell phone number out there, okay?
I'm gonna put your email. I'm not gonna put your cell phone number.
But no. If I don't get back to these people and they complain to you, I'm telling you right now, put my cell phone out there. It's okay. I'm just telling you, because that's going to hold me accountable. I got to be held accountable, right? I can't just be talking. I got to be held accountable.
True. All right.
It
was awesome. Thank you so much. We really appreciate you. We will be I'll be reaching back because I want you to come back because we want to keep this momentum going, right? So
I got to meet Sandra in person because she's like a smart person. I don't want to meet through this video
smart?
Well, no, you're smart too. Maybe we can all do coffee or something one day. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. We're all about that.
Whatever you like. Coffee, donuts, bagels, whatever. I don't know. I'm down with anything. So,
all right. Well, that's
right, ladies.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon. And tell your wife thank you so much for letting us have you for a little bit.
Yes.
Have a great night. Thank you.
Have a good one. All right. So we have so much to talk about, but we had the pleasure of speaking to Rod Velez, candidate for school board district 1.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, it was pretty good. We definitely, but we can't do the recap tonight because
I know
I got mommy duties. My son has a meeting at the school at 7.
That's right.
Okay. And I think we should have like a special show maybe tomorrow because there's a commission meeting that's happening.
Yes.
The protest for the commission is happening at 8:30. I have my phone.
PM or 8:30 a.m.
No, 8:30 a.m. because the commission meeting starts at 10. Okay. So they're going to have another protest.
Okay.
Because the community really does not want this morgue. They don't want the morgue. So they're having a protest, and I'm going to tell you the address. It's going to be at 115 South Andrews Avenue, which is the Broward County Commission's office, I think. They'll be there at 8:30 in the morning. And then the commission meeting is going to be in room 409. So at 115 South Andrews Avenue, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33301, in room 409, right? So they're going to be there at 8:30. Protest in the morgue. They want any community support. It's posted on our page. And then I believe the commission meeting starts at around 10 o'clock. The item number is number 54, but I don't believe it's time certain. So we're not sure at what time they're going to hear that.
And last time we had a meeting, they didn't bring that up until late afternoon. So just be prepared if you are going to be there to support. Be prepared to be there all day to support our people.
Well, hopefully they won't do that 2 times. Like they were there all day the last time. Hopefully they won't.
Yes.
Well,
we're hoping, but if not, I would love for people to just be prepared to be there all day and be there to support. We're sick and tired of our communities being mistreated this way by elected officials and those who we elect to serve us. And so we're going to make our voices to be heard tomorrow. And the address is 115 South Andrews Avenue, room 409. At 8:30 a.m. and then the meeting starts promptly at 10 a.m. afterwards. We will have
item number 54.
Item number 54. We will probably have a show tomorrow because I need to address some of these comments. Some of you people, I don't know.
And we need to talk about the election results. We don't have results yet.
We don't have any results yet for District 20 race right now. They're in recount. The top two people are Dale Holness and Sheila Sheffris McCormick. They are between 9 votes.
Every vote counts. We told y'all that.
You see why every vote counts? Every vote counts. So we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for coming.
Probably tomorrow. We'll probably talk to you tomorrow.
We'll come back tomorrow. And those of you who are still on the chat or still watching us,
thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We appreciate all the comments and we will address them.
Absolutely.
All right, Tom, with all that smoke you was bringing.
Who?
Tom Lauder.
Oh yeah, Tom. We appreciate you, Tom Lauder. And if you want to hop on tomorrow, we'll give you an opportunity to hop on anybody if you want to talk about anything. Okay.
We'll open up the link. All right. I gotta go. I really gotta go.
Right. I'm gonna put our commercial on. Bye.
Bye.